All right, so last week I showed you the deck system. It's in the truck, and I teased the camper replacement. And today here it is. So this is a iKamper SkyCamp Mini. This is the Mini 2, and this is a KB Voodoo rack. Now I said I found such a good deal on it, I immediately went and bought it before having even sold my camper. And that's because I got this rack, nothing's wrong with it, and I got this tent. The only thing missing from it were the tent window poles and rain pipe poles. I got both of these for $1,000. The tent itself, brand new, was $3,000 to $3,500, and this is an $1,100 or $1,200 rack. When I saw them on Marketplace, they've been posted for like just a few minutes. I immediately messaged the person and I said, I'm on my way. I'm going to stop and get cash. By the time I got there, they said they received tons of messages for it, so I was the lucky one. Sorry if I beat you there. So I specifically wanted this tent because it sits below the cab, and I wanted a mid-height rack for that reason. Back in 2018, 2019, I had a 4th Gen 4Runner with a Smitty-built XL on the roof. And I hated the body roll it put into it. It was super, like tons of wind resistance on it, and that's also the problem, one of the problems I had with the camper. It was so big, it was so heavy, it was so tall that I was constantly fighting with wind resistance, I was fighting with body roll, and with this setup, it is below the cab. Starting about right here, you get just a little bit as it kind of expands at the end above the cab, but the overwhelming majority of it is below the cab. When I bought it, it did have the tonneau brackets on it, which lifted up so you could put like a rolling cover, one of those Velcro covers on. And because I wanted it as low as possible, I bought the regular brackets for it. Now, an interesting thing before we open it, if you have a Nissan Frontier, you know that there's not a lot of companies out there that have parts for us or have accessories like this for us. However, this is a rack for a Tacoma and it fits my Frontier, and I'll show you how I made that work. Now, one thing you have to account for is it needs to be kind of a modular rack that you can adjust the width of it, which the KB Voodoo racks are. And then there's one trick that you do right in here with the Utilitrack that I'll bring y'all in for that makes this work on a Frontier without having to get some extended long brackets. The Frontier Utilitrack is mounted quite a bit lower than the Tacoma ones, but I have a way that makes that work. So let me get y'all in here and I'll show you how I make it work. Okay, so on a Frontier, you have 2 bolts, kind of for like 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, and the Utilitrack typically sits down here, and that does not work with most Tacoma accessories. However, if you undo those bolts, take the Utilitrack and flip it 180 degrees that way, you can wedge it up behind the bed lip here and still bolt it all in. And that is all I did to make this work. All the way there, and then on the other side as well. So you can see typically this piece right here on the bottom is mounted here at the top, and it puts your rack down here, which is nice because you can use the like those tie down points that they come with that move back and forth. I cannot use those anymore, but you could fab up your own, and like because our Utilitrack is just unistrut pieces that can go in there, you can just custom do whatever you think is going to be best for your attachment. So that's how I was able to make this Tacoma bracket work on a Frontier. It maybe took me 20 minutes to flip it all. You got to be a little bit careful cross-threading stuff because you kind of have to like tuck it up at an angle and then slowly tighten it down, but you can really get it locked in so that you have no problems. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get this open. It's very easy to open. It's kind of why I wanted the SkyCamp or the iKamper. So you take the key it comes with, we're gonna put it in here, flip the latch down, I'm gonna put it in here, flip the latch down, I'm gonna take the key out. On the bottom, we've got 2 brackets that come up, 2 brackets that come up, and we simply open it up. Now from this point, you've got your main strap that actually like you pull it down to close it with. You got your ladder, so I'm gonna bring the ladder out. We're gonna flip it up. And we're gonna open it up, just like so. I don't have my rainfly brackets, the little poles yet to actually prop this up. They should arrive today. Like I said, it didn't come with any, so I bought some from another company because I've got a trip next weekend. and I really need it, you can reach out to iKamper support. I reached out to them Sunday and then again on Tuesday, and I haven't heard back yet. A little bit frustrating, but it's not the end of the world. I understand. At this point, you've got the tent. So on this tent, it's got these straps that kind of go down here, one on each side, and then you got this main strap here, which is when you're opening and closing it, you can kind of like pull it all to cinch it in so it stays closed real easy. And then this, once I get the brackets, will sit up like that. And then inside, you can sleep 2 people. It's typically just me who goes on these trips. I occasionally will bring a child or 2, but I'm not bringing the whole family. I'm super stoked with this. It opens up perfectly. I'm not gonna say it's as easy as a clamshell tent like my camper had. However, a clamshell tent will not fit below the cab because I have a 5-foot bed. I think this is the next best thing for my application. I think it will solve a lot of the problems with wind resistance, keeping weight low, since I'm more into the off-road side than the overlanding side. Yes, I know that's a point of contention and there's an overlap in that, but to me, it's not just driving gravel roads and then setting up camp at night. I like to off-road some harder stuff, to wheel some harder stuff, really push the truck a bit. And I think this, keeping the tent low, keeping the weight low, keeping the drag and the wind resistance off will just make for a better experience and a better time. I actually put this on last weekend and I've been driving with it all week on the truck and I have no complaints. It's low enough, you don't even feel it up there. There's a little bit more body roll than it had without a tent and a rack on it, but it's not near as much body roll, not near as much resistance and weight as I had with the camper. This rack weighs about 80 pounds and the tent from iKamper, they say it weighs 124 pounds. And because I have it mounted as low as I have, it's a lower center of gravity than the camper, where a lot of the camper weight was up high, and I have a lot more thrust as I have to make some more evasive maneuvers and whatnot. Let me bring y'all in a little bit closer. All right, so I have y'all on the wide lens, so it might look a little bigger than it is, but this is the inside. I've got the mattress out because I'm washing the covers and everything and airing some stuff out. You've got clear windows on all sides. They're a little bit foggy, but as I was scrubbing them, I just need to get some dish soap and stuff. They were coming crystal clear. So you got one here, and then you've got the actual mosquito net on it, so you can have it closed up and be able to see outside without having to open the window and let the elements in. You've got the same thing on that side. Up here on the top, the cover, I believe, has the clear built into it. Like the rainfly has the clear built into it. Then you have the mosquito net, and then you have a full cover. So you have like a skylight thing. And I think it's pretty neat that iKamper does this map, and I think this is what makes it at least a iKamper 2, SkyCamp Mini 2, is because I don't think the map came on the first gen. The guy actually advertised it as a SkyCamp Mini 1, but from my research, I think the map only started coming on the second version, so if I'm incorrect, please let me know. But inside, on each side, you've got these nice little handy like storage pockets for your devices, your phone, flashlight, you got one over there. I'm 6'4" and I can sleep straight in this, which is pretty cool for it being such a small tent, low profile tent. I can sit up straight in here. I'll hop in here in a minute. My wife and I can both be in here. I could be in here with a kid or 2. It's really nice, it's really perfect. Here on the front that you guys are looking in, you've got the mosquito net, you've got a door, and then the rain fly would come over it, but I've just got it tossed back right now. All right, so I'm in here now. I'm sitting up straight. I got plenty of room. I can change, I can lay down, I can sleep. And this is gonna be really, really nice. There's lots of airflow in here, especially if I open up this guy. It's a beautiful breezy day in Central Virginia today, and already you got airflow coming in this way, and I don't even have, well, because I've got the rain fly on, I don't have any top ventilation. If it's gonna be nice weather, I'm not even gonna run the rain fly. But all in all, it's in really good shape. I just had to vacuum it out. I washed the cover that comes on the mattress. The cover on the SkyCamp Mini mattress and probably all the iKamper mattresses is actually removable and washable. And so if you buy something used, you can totally wash it so you don't lay in someone else's whatever. Another cool thing, and I'm not perfectly well versed on it yet, but apparently if this whole upper portion of the tent or the actual cover and floor were to get damaged, I could buy just the canvas or just the base and the clamshell portion and replace it, which I think is really neat. It definitely adds to the life of the tent, because if it gets damaged, you don't have to just throw it away. If somehow it got moldy, I don't just have to throw the whole tent away and just create waste unnecessarily. I'm able to either buy the fabric or buy the actual shell. iKamper has a lot of spare parts that you can buy for it in case something were to go wrong. So I'm really stoked to have been able to buy one now. I'm gonna climb back down and I'll kind of walk around the whole tent and show you all what it looks like with it open up like this. Okay, I've got you on wide mode. Might be slightly distorted, but you can see we've got a ladder. I keep my spare rungs at the bottom, this being a mid-height rack. I've got some spare room there. This is how it opens up around the cab. I can still see out this window. It looks pretty slick. I've got clearances and everything all around. I've got plenty of clearance beside the bed or between the cab when it's closed up. This can act as a wind block. And then one thing I didn't mention when I was inside is on the struts right here, they actually have pieces that slide in there that can lock it so that if you do set up in some crazy wind, you can lock the struts. That way the wind cannot push the top down, because you typically want the wind facing the shell of the camper. That way it's not blowing all over the tent. And that gets me into my next piece, which is pretty neat about this. iKamper didn't just do normal metal zippers. They have these little soft, you can see they're pliable, these rubber things over the zipper pulls, and that stops all rattling. You don't hear any, metal zipper pulls rattling. You know how that can sound when you've got like crazy wind and stuff, and then you got the door that can come down. So that's a nice touch. This Velcro here is where the rainfly comes down and Velcros to this, so you're not going to get really any blowing wind in this way. Zippers are all nice and waterproof. It's a beautiful fabric. I like the brown and red. I never thought that those would go together, but it goes together pretty well. All right, I want to take a minute to show you all how this closes up. It's pretty easy, and mind you, this is only the second time I've done it. So this is the strap that's connected to the shell, and then on each side, I got it closed in the hinge. There we go, there's one. And the other one's also closed in the hinge. Okay, so you've got a strap for each side and the strap for the top. So what you're gonna do, I believe, is we're gonna close the ladder up. And we're gonna fold it up like this. That was just, there's no mattress in there, so that was just the pull for those closing. And you're gonna take these guys, and you see how those pull the sides of the tent in? We're gonna take those and take this. We're gonna pull the sides of the tent in, and we're gonna pull it down. And I didn't close my ladder all the way. There we go. Pull the tent down. At the same time, I'm pulling the sides of the tent in. We do a quick, and this is probably because it is unzipped and everything, but we just tuck that side in, walk around here. We're just gonna tuck that side up. And you got those straps. I'm gonna bundle them together. I'm gonna tuck them in right here. You take these latches and you hook them on the bottom, and you're totally closed. It's really waterproof too. 3 days of my commute this past week, it has torrential rained. And my commute is 40 minutes each way, and it stayed completely dry inside. This was the first time I've opened it up since then. There was no water in it. I think part of that is because it's down real low, and part of it's because of how they do that shell. So what did that take? A minute between the ladder, getting it closed and tucking it in. I know my camper was DIY, but it would take me about 3 minutes to close that camper up because of how much kind of tucking in I had to do. Whereas this, having those pieces, the side ones that you pull, really just sucks the whole thing in. So I'm super stoked with it. The last thing I want to do is show how low profile it is. So we got, you can see right there, quite a bit of it's under the cab. Starting about right there, it goes above the cab. All right, so that's the new setup for the truck with the KB Voodoo rack, with the SkyCamp Mini, the iKamper SkyCamp Mini. I'm really stoked for it. It was a screaming deal. I have no complaints with it. The new tent poles should arrive today, so I'll be able to set those up. I think they're a little longer, but I'll just cut them down. I know the door or this opening has a little shorter ones than the windows do. If you are looking for rooftop tent poles, i.e. the ones that kind of go in here and prop your windows open, or on the SkyCamp or whatever tent you have, go in here and prop the door open, you know that they're unobtainium. They're impossible to find. I thought I had found some ARB ones, and I went to buy them and they wanted $72 to ship, $11 in poles, and it was not ARB charging that price, it was some other company. The ones that I ordered are Wilco, the spare tire carrier company that does a bunch of like spare tire stuff and swing outs and whatnot. They had 8 tent poles for 25 bucks, and I think it was 20 bucks to ship it. It was still a little expensive for what they are. They will work out super well, I hope. So once I get those on, I'll throw up a photo here of what it looks like. You can check it out. Thank you for watching today. If you have any questions on the truck, comments on it, let me know. I'm more than happy to answer them. If you like this video, leave a like. Thanks for watching.